All right, so this section is going to be a review on geometric sequences. And this first question I skipped on the Kahoot. It is, which of these sequences right here is geometric? So something is geometric if it grows by some common ratio, uh, meaning like you can multiply by some number to progress in the sequence. All right, it's got to be the same number each time, by the way. This first one is not geometric. This is arithmetic because they're just adding 5 each time. All right, this one has a common difference, not a common ratio. All right, on option B here, looks like they are multiplying by 1/5 to get to the 3, and then they're multiplying by 15 to get to the 45, and then they're multiplying by 1/45 to get to the 1. All right, so they're not multiplying by the same number each time. All right, it doesn't have a common ratio. Option C, from looks like they're all being divided by 4 here. All right, so 28 divided by 4 is 7. 112 divided by 4 is 28. And 7 divided by 4 is 7/4 here. So that is going to be my answer for this one. All right, every term, it's just you're taking the previous term and you're multiplying it by 1/4 to get the next number. And if you do 28 times 1/4, you'll get 7. Okay. So that's the defining characteristic for a geometric sequence is there some number that you can multiply by to get the next number in the sequence? And it's got to be that same ratio each time. Like if you check on option D, they multiply by -4, then they multiply by -5, and then they multiply by -6. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and check the next question. All right, what is the formula for the geometric sequence? Okay, so the formula for geometric sequences is you take the first term and you multiply it by the common ratio to the n minus 1 power. Okay, so to figure out that common ratio, this is an important thing that you need to remember or write down. The common ratio is you take any number in the sequence and then divide that by the number that came before it. Okay, that's how you can go about finding the common ratio. So if you'll do -36 divided by 27, or if you'll do -64 divided by 48, those will equal the same thing. All right, and that's how you figure out your common ratio. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll do -36 divided by 27. All right, that's my answer as a decimal, as a fraction. I'll math frac. Yeah, -4/3. Okay. So my first term is 27, obviously. And then I'll multiply that by -4/3 to the n minus 1 power. And that's it. So 27 -4/3 to the n minus 1. Something that I will mention here, if you'll look as the sequence progresses, 27, 36, 48, these numbers are getting bigger. That does mean that your base has to be bigger than 1. All right, so it had to be 4/3 or -4/3 because the numbers were getting bigger each time. Okay, the 5th number in the sequence is 10. The 6th number is 15. What is the common ratio? All right, again, in order to figure out the common ratio is you just divide some number by the number that came before it. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to do 15 divided by 10, and that's going to be my common ratio. 1.5 or 3/2. So this is just the number that you multiply by to move forward in the sequence. Okay, so if you take 10 times 1.5, you'll see that it equals 15. What's next? right, so this one, it gives you two terms in the sequence, but it doesn't tell us the common ratio. All right, it tells us the 9th, and it tells us the 11th, but it doesn't tell us the 10th number in the sequence. All right, 64 and 100. The question is, what is the 8th term? So before I can figure that out, I got to figure out my common ratio. To figure out this 10th number, you could guess and check. Like if I put a 75 here, I would just figure out, 64 times what gives me 75, and then 75 times that same number should give me 100. The right way to do it, the nice way, is notice that to get from 64 to this number, you're just multiplying by the common ratio. And then to get from here to 100, you're multiplying by the common ratio again. So in an equation, you would say something like 64 times r squared, because you're multiplying it by it twice, is equal to 100. And this will be how you figure out what your common ratio is. All right, I'm going to divide by 64. So I guess r squared equals, and 100 divided by 64, 1.565. And then we'll square root both sides. So r is going to equal the square root of that number, 1.5625. There we go. That's my common ratio, 1.25. All right, so that's the number that I would multiply 64 by to get my middle number. I believe it is 80. Let me see. It doesn't really matter because I'm not looking for that number. Yeah, 80. And if you multiply by 1.25 again, you'll see that it gives you 100. But since you want this 8th number in the sequence, okay, we need to go backwards. So instead of multiplying by 1.25, we'll divide 64 by that. 64 divided by the common ratio. There we go, 51.2. All right, logarithms. Yay. All right, so the little formula for logs, if you need that again, it is log base A of whatever. All right, as an exponential equation, as an exponential form, it would be this is my base, A to this power is equal to y. All right, that's what I'm trying to figure out here. All right, so evaluate log base 3 of 9 plus log base 3 of 3. All right, log base 3 of 9, that's just equal to 2, because 3 to the second power is equal to 9. And then log base 3 of 3 is equal to 1, because 3 to the first power is equal to 3. All right, so our final answer is 2 plus 1, which is 3. All right, log base 64 of 4. So this one is 64 to some power is equal to 4. That's what we got to figure out. The answer here is going to be 1/3. All right, if you do 64 to the 1 divided by 3 power, you see that it's equal to 4. And that's because it's like the cube root. Right? So 64 to the 1/3 is equal to 4. So log base 64 of 4 is 1/3. Okay. This one is 4 to some power is equal to 1/16. So we know that 4 to the second power is equal to 16, but because it's in a fraction form, the answer is going to be negative. All right. So x here is going to be -2. Right, if you check 4 to the -2, that's the decimal as a fraction. You see the b is equal to 1/16. So to use, you can use a logarithm to solve exponential equations. 6 to the x is equal to 3. What we're going to do is we're going to do log base 6 of both sides here. So log base 6 of 6 to the x is equal to log base 6 of 3. And on the left side, because logs and exponentials, anytime, because they're inverses, anytime that the base here is same as the base there, they just cancel out. And so you're left with x is equal to this. Log base 6 of 3. Yep. All right, expand. We're just trying to figure out, which one of these is equivalent to this one. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is rewrite it as a subtraction. So because you've got a division of two logarithms here, the logarithm of a division is going to be the same as the logarithm of each piece subtracted. So I got 2x to the 4th minus log y. So I know it's got to have a minus log y on it. Well, that doesn't help very much. Now here, I've got 2 times x to the 4th. I can rewrite those. I can separate them as an addition. So it'll be log of 2 plus log of x to the 4th. And then the last thing I'll do is you can take the exponent and then put that out front here. Right? Log of something to an exponent is equal to that exponent times the log of the thing, whatever you were taking the log of. So this will become 4 log x minus log y. Okay, 4 log x, and there we go. Okay, 22. All right, condensing. All right, so the first thing I want to do, I'm going to take this 5 and put it back in the logarithm. So this will be log of x to the 5th plus, I'm going to do the same for the 2. So that 2, it's going to apply to this whole thing. So it's going to be it's going to be 3x to the 2nd. Or I'll say 3 to the 2nd, x to the 2nd, like that. Which is going to end up equaling 9x to the 2nd. Okay. And now, since it's an addition, and the log bases here are the same, I can multiply the two pieces that are inside here. All right, x to the 5th times 9x to the 2nd. I would rewrite that as log x to the 5th times 9x to the 2nd, like that. You'll see that is equal to 9x to the 7th right here. We got one more. All right. So the 1/2, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the inside of the parentheses. So this is going to be log of 64 to the 1/2 minus log 4. So 64 to the 1/2, that's just equal to 8. All right, and then as a subtraction, you could rewrite this as a division. It'll be a log of a quotient. So 8 divided by 4. which is equal to 2. So the answer is log 2. All right. And I believe that's it. Yeah. Do the Kahoot a couple more times if you want to. Just make sure you have it all down. Good luck.